The Chargers' run defense has been really good, but they must pass their biggest test of the season on Sunday if they want to avoid the upset.
You are Locked On Chargers, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Chargers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome into the Locked On Chargers podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Wade, joined as always by my co-host, David Drogemeyer, a.k.a. the Billboard Boys. But we've been covering the Chargers together for 8 seasons together, but this is our 6th year as the host of the Locked On Chargers podcast, bringing you your team every day. Thank you guys, as always, for making this your first listen today. And to make sure you never miss the show, go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. David, what do we got today?
Today, Daniel, we're going to start with our keys for success, starting on defense. Why it's going to be really important for the Chargers to be ready for the running game and to tackle in space. And on offense, why it's going to be really, really important to get Austin Eckler involved in the passing game. And then we're going to finish things up with our bold and game predictions.
As we always do on every Friday show, excited for this one, another primetime football game, and a game at least you feel like a chance where the Chargers can go out there and maybe do something in primetime and maybe look good in primetime. We're going to tell you exactly how they can do that. But this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. And David, it would be hard to know, based on how bad the Chargers defense has been as a whole, just how much better their run defense has been in 2023. It's a night and day difference, and it doesn't feel as good when you're giving up a ton of huge plays on the back end. But overall, it's been great. But this weekend, they have a gigantic test because win or lose, the Chicago Bears are going to stay committed to the running game. And I don't think the Chargers, even going up against Derrick Henry and the Titans, even going up against the Dolphins really before their rushing attack really started cooking, this is easily, to me, their biggest test of the season because Chicago's going to keep running it, and they're not going to get away from it if the Chargers don't make them.
I mean, that's so true because you look at the numbers and it's pretty staggering. The Chicago Bears are one of the only teams in the NFL that has run the ball more than they have passed the ball.
Crazy.
205 times to 208 carries, and it's 208 carries for 989 yards, 4.8 yards per carry, and that's good for 141.3 yards per game. So you're going to be looking for Donta Freeman, who's going to be leading the charge, and Darrington Evans. And Darrington Evans are going to be kind of getting the rock for the most part. Their other guys are on IR, are going to miss out on this football game. But like Daniel kind of alluded to, the Chargers run defense has been way, way better this year. They are 10th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed at 96.8 per game. Last year, they were 140 plus yards per season. It's 47.4 yards less per game than they were last season. It is a tremendous, stark difference, and it is going to be tested repeatedly in this football game.
It is. And I think the most impressive thing about the Chargers is 3.9 yards per carry is what they've allowed so far this season, right? Like, they were at 5.4 for the season. For the season. That's like such an insane number.
That's disgusting.
So bad. Easily the worst in the NFL last year, and now they're pretty good, and they've been good all season, but they haven't had a team that's going to test them like the Bears will, right? Because especially when you're starting an undrafted rookie quarterback like Tyson Bagent, right, you're going to want to protect him by running the football in the quick game, which we'll talk about all that. But, like, listen to these box scores. Against the Raiders, 38 carries for $173. Against the Commanders, 32 carries for 178. Denver, 31 for 171 yards. And the Vikings, 36 for 162 yards. They've run for at least 162 in 4 straight games. They've ran the ball 30-plus times in 4 straight games. The first 3 games of the season, they didn't run the ball 30 times in a single one of those first 3 games. The last 4 games, the biggest difference with this Bears team, committed to running the football. We'll see if Roschon Johnson, the impressive rookie from Texas, can go in this one, right? I mean, they will not have Khalil Herbert, who's now on injured reserve, but D'Onta Foreman is a really good player that I was kind of hoping the Chargers would go after in the offseason, if I'm being honest. And also, he's
a physical runner.
And the thing is, David, is their offensive line is much better run blocking than they are in pass blocking, right? So,
goodness,
they're going to play to their strengths there. And I think the one thing that if you can get, stop the run, and I'm looking at guys like Tuli, right? Tackles for loss, things that are going to set them behind the sticks, things that are going to not let them throw the ball short in ways that they can rattle the rookie, David, because this is his second career start as, the Division II Heisman at Shepherd University and as an undrafted rookie, which is unheard of. But what happened the last time the Chargers played a rookie quarterback? Yeah, the game got way too tight because the offense fell apart, but they also sacked Aiden O'Connell 7 times, forced 3 fumbles against him, right?
Yes.
And also intercepted him. When you go up in your second career game and you see Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa lined up healthy on the other side of you, if you get to him early, that's intimidating, man. That can rattle a young quarterback and rattle the rookie, just like it was against the Raiders. Absolutely a key in this game.
And there's a big opportunity to do that against this offensive line. The Bears' offensive line is not good. It's not. They've given up 27
and they're
sacks
injured too. Yeah.
in 7 games. And yes, they're very injured. The guy that has the big red target on him this week is Darnell Wright. 5 sacks and 23 pressures given up so far this season. He is the right tackle. He's a guy that you absolutely have to terrorize in this football game. And, just like pretty much any other rookie, this guy, Tyson Bagent, only 5 for 11 and 45.5 completion percentage when he's under pressure. You got to light him up. You got to heat him up. But the only way that you can do that is if you stay out of those 3rd and short situations. You cannot allow Tyson Bagent to fling it out to the boundaries on those quick passes and allow them to stay ahead of the sticks. You have to be able to get into those exotic blitz packages where you can send Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, Morgan Fox, and Tuipulotu after that rookie quarterback. And if you get to him early and you really start to harass him and you hit him, he's going to start feeling pressure that's not there, and he's going to start making errant throws, and that's going to turn into turnovers and interceptions for you, which this defense desperately needs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you could definitely get a couple of floaters. It happened in the first game when he was pressing, when they were behind, and the Vikings, he got them back in that game after Justin Fields got hurt. And, Tyson Bagent was pretty impressive last week against the Raiders, even with the 2.6 average depth of target, obviously not throwing the ball downfield.
Not at all.
But to go win a game 30-12, you can't play terribly and win like that, right? He didn't turn the ball over at all. He didn't do some of the rookie things, and the Raiders just didn't show up. But at the same time, the Chargers don't have any of their pass rushers on this injury report, too. But I think it's great that you brought up the short game, because according to Arjumanon, the Bears run the second most screen passes in the entire league. It's what they want to do. And the Chargers are going to have to play it well, which means what? If you're the corners, you have to get off blocks and make tackles. It's going to be a big safety game as well. But as Lauren Cox said, if you don't stop it, they're going to keep doing it. And that is one of the huge keys in this game, is for the Chargers to be able to play that well, because it's stopping the run, stopping the short passing game, and then making them throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, 65.1% of Tyson Bagent's throws have been 10 yards or less from the line of scrimmage. So expect that he is going to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Don't expect for a lot of checks. You're not going to see that from a rookie quarterback. He just doesn't have enough time on task to be able to understand how to get himself into better advantageous positions. You're going to see a lot of one read type of plays. You're going to see a quarterback that's going to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. So if the Chargers defense can kind of, frustrate him, confuse him, try to make him have to process and slow him down enough to make him have to process post snap, I think that's when the Chargers are going to have the most success. And you're going to see it. They're going to throw the ball to the boundaries. You absolutely have to tackle in space, get them on the ground immediately. And once you start doing that, maybe you can start taking some chances and then maybe try to jump some routes and go ahead and get some interceptions.
Yeah, I'd love to see Zont, jump one in this game.
Absolutely.
And take something back for a pick six. If you jump a screen pass, that's a house call pretty much every time.
Every
they're
time.
Running this way, you're running that way, it's game over. So I think especially in the red zone, when you have a little less space behind you and can have a little more help there, that could be a chance for you to jump something. Absolutely. Like we saw on the little pick play against the Raiders, and a rookie quarterback, right, just throwing it to a spot, and Asante Samuel Jr. was there and probably should have took it back for a pick six. But I think that's huge. And the other thing is guess who they're going to throw it to? DJ Moore. They're easily their best receiver. So we can't go through this defensive keys for success without saying, Brandon Staley, you cooked up some incredible game plans down the stretch against some bad teams last year. You need some of that in this game, and it starts with, hey, they're going to throw it to DJ Moore and give him 15 targets. But Cole Kmet, even last week, 0 catches, 0 yards. But at the same time, that's one game. He's been good this year. He's been on one of my fantasy teams, is why I know. But, I'm not worried about Cole Kmet, right?
Yeah. Slow
DJ Moore down. Just slow him down a little bit.
Everything you can to get in
We
his
have
way.
to get to our offensive keys for success. We're going to get into that and why the Chargers must protect Justin Herbert and their offensive line's best matchup of the season coming up right after this. First, though, you guys need to snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. You put $5 down, you lose your bet, you get $200 in bonus bets. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now because the app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, which I love, always looking through the player props, over-unders, and much more. And the over-under for Sunday Night Football right now is 8.5 points. It started off at 9.5 points, and I said, what? That number's going to come down this week, right? So it could get even lower, and it's hard to imagine feeling very good about the Chargers winning by double digits. So they have the chance to show us, right? They have the chance to go out there and show us and get a double-digit win so that people can cash in on FanDuel. And you guys want to get in the action, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season in style. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. David, let's get to our offensive keys for success here. And I think the first one is super obvious, but has been anything but a given so far in 2023. And that's protect Justin Herbert. And that always seems obvious, but in this game in particular, they should do it. And they should be able to do it. And it doesn't feel like it's too much to ask because me and you had the same thought process before the show. This is literally what I have in my notes. No Jalen Phillips, no Danielle Hunter, no Max Crosby, no Micah Parsons, no Chris Jones, and no Jeffrey Simmons. Those are the guys you're not playing in this game.
Yeah.
You've had the best of the best so far this year, right? Top 5 interior rushers, top 5 edge rushers are what you've gone up against. There's nobody like that on this defense, and the Chargers must protect Justin Herbert. Feels like he could snap out and turn into that guy we know he can be anytime. This is a great opportunity for the offensive line to give him the time to do that.
Yeah, the Chicago Bears offensive line's given up a ton of sacks. Their defense has not produced a ton of sacks at all. Unfortunately for them, only 10 sacks in 7 games this season. And so there's nobody on their defense that has more than 2 sacks. Nobody. I mean, it's Yannick Ngakoue that has 2, and then, that's pretty much it. There's not really anybody else that's coming after the passer. So there's a big opportunity for Justin Herbert to take advantage of a secondary that is very, very injured. Also, their starting safety, Jaquan Brisker, is going to be out. He has mono, so he's going to miss this game. He's one of their better tacklers. He also has 17 run stops. So I would like to see him his replacement get targeted in this game. I want to see them set up some shot plays. I really, really want to see them take advantage of hopefully some extra time protecting Justin Herbert and getting some explosions down the football field, hopefully to a returning Jalen Guyton.
Yeah, and David doesn't know that Jalen Guyton's returning, but we have seen at least his first full participation practice since his 21-day window was opened up. So if he doesn't play this week, he would basically have to come back next week because next week would be the 3rd week of that 21-day window. Now feels like as good a time as any, right? Josh Palmer hasn't practiced all week. Quentin Johnston obviously hasn't been able to assert himself as the number 2 option or, even number 3 option. And I think as far as this go, I just want to see Justin Herbert be able to get to the 3rd progression, right? Get to the 4th progression.
Please.
Those are all things I'd like to see, and that don't happen unless Justin Herbert gets time. But if you want to push the ball down the field, this offensive line has to take care of business and give him time from a clean pocket to deliver some strikes down the field. I thought last week was a step in the right direction for Herbert. I thought 2 weeks ago he was much worse than he was last week. I think the finger could feel a little bit better this week. And I think the Chargers need to punish in this ailing secondary, David, because, you also not only is Brisker going to miss this game with mono, you have Eddie Jackson, who's been banged up too, and that dude is easily their most talented player, like the biggest name on that defense, right? Definitely. And he's been slow to come back from an injury as well. Joshua Palmer has been their best offensive weapon the last 2 weeks, right? That's just what it is. Last week, 5 for 133, gets the 4th and 16, gets the deep ball early in the game, and somehow didn't score a touchdown on it. But part of them punishing this secondary, find Tyreek Stevenson, right? He's a rookie. 10 receptions allowed last week, right? 19 receptions allowed over the last 3 games. I'm staying away from Jalen Johnson, who had 2 picks last week. I'm going after the guy, the rookie, and finding the best matchups, finding ways to get Keenan Allen involved with him in coverage and exploiting that all day.
Absolutely, yes. You definitely want to take advantage of Stevenson. I love the idea of trying to motion Keenan Allen on to him as much as possible. I mean, Keenan Allen literally made the Dallas Cowboys corner fall out of bounds because he ran that route so masterfully. I can see something like that happening against a rookie corner when you have one of the best route technicians in the NFL. Definitely want to exploit that matchup and get Keenan Allen in as many advantageous positions as possible, especially when you might be without Joshua Palmer in this game.
Yeah, and we'll see, right? I mean, Gerald Everett limited on Thursday after not practicing Wednesday. He is a huge part of this game.
Very much
Joshua
so.
Palmer, I mean, we've seen him play through injuries and still be successful, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what gives you a little bit of hope if he can get back. I think he finished the game. He was in the 4th and 16. I don't remember if he fully finished that last game, but I'm pretty sure he was out there as the waning moments were going in that Kansas City game before the final interception. But I think those are all things that can happen. But I think one of the big ways the Chargers can really assert themselves offensively in this game is getting Austin Eckler more involved in the passing game, man. Like, it feels like one of the more underutilized things we've seen this season. 9 catches in 3 games. 3 catches a game doesn't seem that low, but coming from a dude who's had 107 catches in the season, find the in the middle, right? And I think the hard thing for me is, like, I'm not just looking for dump offs and things like that, even though if you give Justin Herbert time and they stretch the defense and they keep getting depth, it gives a lot of room for him. But we just haven't seen Austin Eckler in open space nearly enough this season, right? Like, Quentin Johnson's not getting the ball as a yak guy. Darius Davis is in gadget play kind of situations. But Austin Eckler has been that yak guy, and one of the biggest reasons the Chargers have been able to sustain drives over the last few seasons and score points and score as many touchdowns as he has. So I want to see him get some schemed touches in this game, find ways, especially David going up against an elite run defense, to get Austin Eckler the ball in space.
It's 100% correct. I mean, we had the same note. We talked about this as well. But I don't want to see the Chargers bang their head against a wall repeatedly trying to run the football against one of the better run defenses in the NFL. They're 5th in the league in rush yards allowed, giving up only 82.3 rushing yards and 3.4 yards per carry.
Which is the best in the league.
Yeah, which is the best in the league. Right, which is why I don't want to see them try to run the ball repeatedly, even if they're in advantageous run looks. Get Austin Eckler involved in the passing game. He can help you extend drives and kind of clear out those lulls that you've had in the second half. He's a guy that can help you sustain drives, keep you ahead of the sticks, and keep you away from 3 and outs. And I think a really good way to do that is to get him lined up on the linebackers. You absolutely have to attack the linebackers in coverage in this game. Jack Sanborn, TJ Edwards, and Tremaine Edmonds have allowed 63 receptions on 75 targets for 658 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a completion percentage of 84%. And Jack Sanborn is particularly vulnerable. If you can get Eckler lined up on Sanborn has allowed 10 receptions on 10 targets for 128 yards this season. So you definitely want to find the linebackers and exploit that matchup as much as you can.
Yeah, I agree. I like their offensive line being better at run blocking than pass blocking. Their front seven's better at run defense than they are in pass rush. So that is where you attack them. Yeah. And that's where being able to give Justin Herbert time, right? Being able to let him find that last check down route and that last read, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, Austin Eckler has found himself open in the flats. A lot of people have pointed out in big moments.
Yeah.
Almost every time Justin Herbert has like a chest full of face masks, right? Like, it's not like these are just things where he's getting to process everything from a clean pocket. And there's been just a very low amount of clean pockets. One thing to keep the pass rush back and keep their defense off you a little bit is by using Austin Eckler to kind of open things up with that yak ability that he has. The last thing, right? How to avoid an upset, right? How to make sure you beat teams that are worse than you. Take care of the football, right?
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. Like, the way you let them into this game is by not taking care of the football. Like, if you give them 2 turnovers, if you have a fumble in the red zone, if Justin Herbert throws a pick 6, that's what gives a team like the Bears confidence that not only should they be in this game, but that they can win this game. It's huge.
And play clean football, too. No penalties, right? Stop shooting yourself on the foot on both sides of the ball, not just on offense, on defense as well. Stop with the penalties, especially in those critical moments, on those 3rd and longs on defense, and just on any situation on offense. Play clean football, protect the football. Don't give this Bears team any other opportunities than they are going to get. That's it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's how you put teams away. That's how you beat bad teams. We haven't even seen the Chargers beat bad teams convincingly this season so far. This is a chance to do it. If you can take care of these things, you can go out and win convincingly in prime time. But do I actually think they're going to do it? We have to get into that, our offensive and our bold predictions coming up right after this. I do need to tell you guys first, though, about our friends at Prize Picks, which is daily fantasy sports made easy. With Prize Picks, you just select 2 or more players, pick more or less than their projected stats, and place your entry. And the more entries you hit on, the more you can win. If you hit on 6 players, you can get up to 25 times your money. And basically, it works like this. This week, you go with Justin Herbert to throw more or less than 274.5 passing yards, or Keenan Allen to get more or less than 78.5 receiving yards. If you hit those, you're in the money. If those are the 2 you go with, Keenan Allen has 79 yards, Justin Herbert has a 300-yard game, that's how you win. And with Prize Picks, they have a ton of great promotions like Taco Tuesday, where you get a 25% discount on the projections you're looking at, so even better matchups. And they also have injury insurance, and no other daily fantasy sports can say that. That's why Prize Picks are the best. And right now, you guys can go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Promo code LockedOnNFL for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. I also need to tell you guys about one of my just favorite things in general. And of course, I'm talking about DoorDash. Sundays are made for DoorDash. Football is made for DoorDash. Once that 10 o'clock game starts Pacific time, you can't leave your house, and DoorDash is there to bring everything you need to your house without you even having to leave and right to your doorstep. But the best thing about DoorDash easily is finding the hidden gems in your community. And what we're locked on this week, the restaurant is Sunday Gravy. This feels pretty fitting, right? If the best Italian food in town, and they are known for their cheese bread. If you guys are looking for something to fuel you during football, make sure you guys check out Sunday Gravy on DoorDash, and they can bring it right to your house. If you're next to SoFi or in the surrounding area, we definitely suggest Sunday Gravy. And you can even save some money, because right now you can get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code LOCKED23. Subject to change, terms apply. That's 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15. Save that money with the code LOCKED23 at DoorDash. The best thing for Sundays is DoorDash. Let's get into our predictions, David, because this one feels like it should be easier than it is for me. I shouldn't feel like the Chargers, aren't going to win this game convincingly, but unfortunately the Chargers haven't given us any reason to think this is going to be an easy Sunday, because Chargers fans don't get easy Sundays. But before that, I need to tell you guys, make sure you're checking out Locked On NFL Kickoff Live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where you get Kyle Krabs, Tanisha Batiste, and Jarvis Davis talking with all of the local experts from around the NFL and the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing you that local insight to get you ready for your Sundays every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys check that out on every Locked On NFL channel. David, it's time for our offensive bold predictions here in a game that's a must-win game for the Chargers, like you talked about yesterday. Who do you have, or what do you think is going to happen in Sunday's game?
Yeah, so offensively for me, I'm going to have 2, just because my primary one is still maybe a little bit up in the air at this moment in time. Jalen Guyton did have a full participation in practice this week, and I do feel like
then bold predict that he's going to play and do something. Yeah. That's a bold prediction, baby. If you're going to go for it, go for it.
Let's do it then. I feel like Jalen Guyton's going to get activated. I think he is going to play on Sunday night, and I think he is going to announce his 2023 season in style with a bang. And I'm going a 40-yard touchdown for Jalen Guyton in his first game back with the Chargers.
It would just feel like everything is right if that were to happen, right? Like, it's just like, okay, now we're back, right? Like, yeah. And you just hope that Jalen Guyton and Justin Herbert, just because he is, does have that trust with Justin Herbert. They do have the chemistry that's been built over several seasons, right? Now going on year 4 together, right?
And a lot of success.
But he also hasn't played in a long time, right? So will that chemistry be there? I had that as one of my bold predictions too, backup just in case, I didn't know who you were going to go with. I had a 60-plus yard touchdown. But that's not my bold prediction, but that would be so sweet if it could happen.
That would be awesome.
Obviously, the author too of that New York Giants catch, right? One of the best.
Yeah, one of the best throws of all time. Yeah.
But I'll keep it there. Justin Herbert goes off in this game. Like I said, like it feels like it's only a matter of time before he reasserts himself and people stop questioning him, and it feels like this could be a game. I'm going 350 passing yards, 50 rushing yards, and 3 total touchdowns in this one for primetime Justin Herbert to shut up the haters a little bit and just show, hey, I'm here. If you give me time, right, I can actually make things happen when I'm not running for my life. So if the Chargers can do that, I'd like to see it. So let's get to our bold predictions on the defensive side of things here, David. I'm going to go first because I don't want mine stolen on this one. I'm going rookie Tuipulotu in this game, and I have 5 tackles for loss by Tuli in this game and a sack for the rookie. I think this is a game for him that's made for him, and I think that he is going to be a huge factor in how good the Chargers do defensively because he already is their best run defender. Like, he's up there, right? And at the edge position, that's huge. Khalil Mack's up there too. He's a monster in run defense, but like, this is going to be the game where those edges are tested. I think Tuli goes off for 5 tackles for losses, all up in the Chicago Bears backfield, and has a day to remember in his rookie season.
I wouldn't mind seeing them move him inside a little bit too. I mean, Cody Whitehair's given up 13 pressures. Center Lucas Patrick's given up 12 pressures. So, I mean, I think there's a couple.
Well, that's why you'd like to see him get into that 4 pass rush package, right? Where it's him, Morgan Fox, Khalil, and Joey Bosa. In that situation, somebody gets a good matchup inside, but like, do you even need a good matchup inside when you're going up against these tackles? Like, they're all going to have a good matchup. There's no excuse for this Chargers pass rush to not get there. They should have got there more last week. This is a week for atonement.
Yep, definitely. And I'm going to stick right there with the edge rushers. I feel like Khalil Mack's revenge tour against his old team is going to continue. And this one, he's going to hit up one of his other former bosses. And I think he's going to drag down Tyson Bagent 3 times in this one. You know, Khalil Mack gets up for the games against his former employers. I think he's going to do it again in grand style.
Yeah, I don't know if there's many other people you could put in the conversation with Khalil Mack as far as revenge games. I mean, last year he started his first game with the Chargers against the Raiders, gets 3 sacks.
Yeah.
This year against the Raiders, when it's not his BFF Derek Carr, 6 sacks in a game. Yeah, I love that, and I mean, I think that would bode well for the Chargers going up against a rookie if he has a monster named Khalil Mack putting him on the dirt that many times. So let's get to our game predictions here, David. I know we feel decent. I feel okay about this game. I mean, the Chargers should absolutely win this game. But I think the tough thing, David, is that the Bears have been much better over their last 4 games, right? They're 2-2 in their last 4, but the 2 losses are 1-score losses, and the 2 wins are 18-plus point wins. As Lauren Cox told us, right? This will be their biggest test during that stretch. But it's all been 1-score losses and double-digit wins for them in the last month. And they won last week with an undrafted quarterback. What do you think is going to happen on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, I think the Chargers offensively going to come out firing. I think they're going to be able to get a lead early in this football game, and they're going to take the Bears' ability to run the football away from them. And I think they're going to force Tyson
away
Bagent
from them.
Yeah, well, they're going to force Tyson Bagent to throw a lot more than they want him to, and I think that is going to result in the Chargers winning this football game, and they're going to win convincingly for the first time this year. I know I'm crazy. I know I might sound like a maniac doing this, but I have the Chargers winning 34-21. I think they pick up their biggest and best win of the season.
I like that because I still think it's very possible that the Chicago Bears, even with Tyson Bagent, with this Chargers defense, have a chance to get to 20 points or somewhere around there, right?
Yeah.
And I like what I like the most about that is, like, I don't think you're getting 34 points and a half. So I mean, it feels like that's a more balanced game scoring where there's not a huge drought in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, David's saying hammer the over on FanDuel is what I'm hearing, but if you're in a betting state, he likes the over. I would take, or not. I mean, at least he would take the Chargers with the spread. I would say it's not going to be that convincing. I think it's going to be their most convincing win of the season, but I have it Chargers 27, Bears 19. It feels like a weird game that can have a weird score to me. I just wish I could be more convicted. I picked the Chargers to lose the last 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Cowboys, but like, they should win this game. There's no excuse not to. And the reason I'm picking them to win is because I don't think it can be a trap game when your season's on the line. Right? Like, what's there to look forward to is if you don't win this week.
Yeah, there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, like, I've seen people say trap game, and I think the hard thing is, it's like, if Josh Palmer doesn't play, if Gerald Everett doesn't play, maybe we're looking at this as a much easier game than it's actually going to be, right? Maybe we're underrating how tough this game could be if the Chargers are missing more key players offensively, especially. So it feels like a game that could be close. Chargers have to win convincingly. They have to put this game away and not get embarrassed on national television again in the fourth quarter. It can't happen. It can't happen. Go out there, dominate the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Give just a little bit of hope to your fans that you figured some things out. And this is a team that you can go and do it against. No excuses not to. Against an undrafted rookie quarterback, go get the job done. It's as simple as that. But make sure you guys are back here with us after the game. We weren't here the last time after a live game on Sunday Night Live in prime time, I should say, a late game. We're going to do everything we can to have a live show for you guys, win or lose, on Sunday night after the game. To make sure you don't miss it, go subscribe or follow for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. You can also find the show every day on our social media. You can find me on Twitter at DanTalkSports, David Drogmeyer at DroTalkSD, and the show's page at Locked On LAC. You can also find us at Locked On Chargers on Instagram and our Locked On Chargers Facebook page. Go get the job done. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. Bow up, be physical, get the job done in prime time, and we'll be back with you guys hopefully for a post-game victory show. But until then, guys, take it easy and go Bolts.